Hey, Clint.
Lance, there we go, buddy. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Sorry, I guess I was having some issues connecting. I had some Wi-Fi stuff going on.
Hey, all good. Glad to have
Yeah.
you. It has been a while. It's been so long that the name of my podcast has changed. Welcome to On the Road to Rock. You were on
Right
Music
on.
Mania like 5 years ago. It's great to have you, man. Happy New Year
Thanks
to
for having
you.
me.
How's it going? How's everything going?
Man, Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, it's been a while. Thanks for having me back on the show. Man, things have been, they've been a little up and down. It's been an interesting couple of years. A lot has happened since the last time I've been on. So here we are today, though.
I take it. I see that you've moved to Nashville.
Right.
What was kind of the impetus of this, and kind of how's it been working out so far in Nashville? One of my favorite cities in the world. In fact, you think back to like the 80s when all the rockers moved to LA and like the Sunset Strip and all that. It seems like today Nashville's kind of the new LA. People are moving there. It's a great place to live, great place to visit. How's it been working out for you?
No, absolutely. It definitely is. The industry is definitely there in a big way now. Almost everybody I know, it's funny you mentioned that because almost everybody I knew that was in LA is now in Nashville.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I had talked about moving there for quite some time beforehand, and I had some issues. I had some wellness stuff I really had to look at. I had, I've been a big recovery's been a big part of my life. Sobriety, recovery. And I was doing really good for a while there. And I've got some chronic back pain issues. Meds kind of took back over. And man, for a couple of months there, I had a pretty serious downfall due to chronic back pain. So Nashville has always been a place of wellness for me. So I went back this time and just stayed. And it was just a all around better situation all the way around. The community there is so good to me, and everybody just really has been uber supportive. And not only that, but then all the music, you have that, both of those things coupled together was just a win-win all the way around. So it's been I was built for that town.
Yeah. Hey, I think I was too. Why I live in Kansas City still, I don't know, but I know you're a football fan. I saw you had a Saints hat on,
Oh yeah.
Not going to make the playoffs this year, but so I'm a Chiefs fan, and the Titans just got the 1 seed, so that I might be heading to Nashville here in a few weeks. If the Chiefs make it to the AFC Championship game, we may be coming out and just making it a Nashville AFC Championship game party, man. We might just do it.
That's awesome.
So
let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about everything that's going on with your new music, because I just got to hear a couple of the new singles, Take a Swing and Wild Country. Wild Country, man, one of the best songs I've heard in a long time as far as new music goes. This is tremendous. And it just sort of, I don't know, how a song just kind of captures you and your mood and your moment. It's kind of, as a freedom loving American that's had a hard time these last couple of years, man, that song kind of it put me in a better mood. I just got back from Vegas. I went out to see David Lee Roth. He canceled, but I got to see like Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer did a bunch of 80s Kiss songs. That was freaking phenomenal out there at Counts Vamp. So this song, Wild Country, man, really good. And I saw that you had one of our good friends, Brian Tichy, playing on one of the new singles. Which song did he play on?
Wild Country.
He played on Wild Country. How about that? Fitzy's one of our, he's Tichy's one of our favorite guys, man. How did that work out? How did you get him to play on that? Because it's a tremendous track.
Well, thank you so much, Clint. I mean, Wild Country really was my partner and producer and co-songwriting partner, Joey Sykes, has been tremendous in looking at my life from the outside looking in and looking at me and kind of through my entire journey of life and how it unfolds for me. And he's really good at capturing that in a story form. And then we work on it together. And that's really kind of what his embodiment of kind of my character, on this complete kind of Ulysses style odyssey through life. And he really did. I mean, it was really an odyssey of me once again. And to go back to Brian Tichy, he's always been one of my extremely most favorite drummers of all time.
Wow.
I mean, I always, I got turned on to Brian's drumming in the early 90s when he was in the band with Zach Wild, Pride and Glory.
Yeah, great stuff.
And the Pride and Glory with, I think, James Lemenza on bass and Brian and Zach Wild was, still to this day, I think is one of the most epic power trios and bands that ever existed. You know, I thought Zach Wild really shined and Brian really shined. So that's how I was introduced to that, to Brian's drumming and his music. And then I began attending the Bonzo Bash parties at the NAMM show in Anaheim in the winter, all the John Bonham tribute shows. And so he would bring on the host of drummers. They would pay tribute to John Bonham. And I just thought that was always a great thing and always stood behind all the work that Brian did. So, I had been in a band with Kenny Aronoff, Supersonic Blues Machine. And always, they had a slew of different drummers like Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers and Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, all these guys that were backups to Aronoff. And I always put Brian's name in the hat. Like, what about Brian? So it was an opportunity to finally, have Brian on a recording and on a record and to work with him. And that's one of the things this album features, some really great drummers. And so, if we're going to feature great drummers, Brian needs to be in there because he's at the top of my list personally. I love Brian Tichy. So, and what an honor to have him playing on, one of the first singles.
Absolutely. And what's kind of the status of the rest of the album? I know you've been doing some crowdfunding for it. Can people still get in on that? And what's kind of the timetable here as far as when you want to kind of get everything out here? Probably, early 2022 or what?
Yeah, we've got a couple of more days left on the crowdfunder
on
Indiegogo, the Lance Lopez new album project at Indiegogo. We got a couple of more days, to contribute, and we got some really cool perks on there. We've got the singles that we're going to try to release on a wide scale here in the next couple of months, and then also we're looking at probably a mid 2022 for a release. Hopefully, if not the summer, then definitely early fall.
Awesome. Well, I know. For you, especially your genre, rock music, blues, rock, whatever you want to say, playing live is so important. And I know that is the case because I have this CD from you that I got back before we had you on before. This is one of my favorite live albums, right up there with Kiss Alive.
Wow.
kind of a funny dichotomy there, right? But I always love this, and I know how important live music is for you. You grown up playing live all over this country, man. I know you've gotten back and you played some dates, but you talked about having a year off, but COVID kind of forced that for a lot of people anyway. What's kind of the plan as far as live dates coming up? What do you got going on, and what's kind of the plan for this year?
So we're definitely in the mode of getting dates back going, again for the spring and summer. And fall. So we've got those. We're in the works of them. We went out this last fall, again on a wide scale, regionally back to Texas and kind of and in our regional area and trying to get back out. So we're definitely planning on having dates, but the focus really right now has been just recording and finishing the album, but we're definitely going to be back out as soon as we're kind of got that situated. We're going to definitely be back out in full force, as safe as we can, safest way possible, the best way to make everybody feel comfortable. We'll be back out, as much as we can.
Well, you've been doing this your whole life. You grew up in bars, and you talk about recovery. And I think back to the fact that you've been in bars playing live since you were a teenager, right? So
that's right. That's correct.
Is there almost an inevitable nature when that's your life, which is so different than anyone else's life? You grow up in that scene and that setting and those dirty nightclubs and those bars in Texas. You're going to start drinking. You're going to start partying. Was that kind of inevitable for you? And how hard has it been to sort of distance yourself from that while also being a major part of that scene? How hard is that?
Yeah, it definitely was a challenge, and it was always about, as a kid, it was always about keeping up and hanging with the cool guys and sounding like the cool guys,
right,
and doing all that. Absolutely. And then, then you walk away from it with a problem. I walked away like, oh my God, wait a minute. Like now I'm hooked or whatever, So it's been a struggle for years, but that was one of the reasons I went to Nashville and took a lot of time. And I had guys helping me that were legendary, iconic musicians that helped me in my recovery, so guys that I'll absolutely listen to because I grew up learning how to play to their records. So I listen to them and, and how they deal with it. And so I get a lot of tools from other musicians in recovery of how to maintain and how to go out there and do it and what I need to do. And it's up to me to take care of myself. And that's kind of, my backslide and downfall this last go around was, I started placing other things ahead of, taking care of myself. Sure. So as long as I'm taking care of myself and not getting too wrapped up and stressed out with, other issues and other problems in my job and my family and anything else, as long as I'm making my recovery and taking care of myself first, I can go anywhere and do anything. The minute I stop doing that, and I put myself in that position back in a bar, back around people doing that, it's real easy to backslide. So that's what the real lesson was. And I took a lot of time off even before COVID. So I actually went to work in a drug rehab in Nashville. So that's actually what I did pre-COVID. I took a lot of time off and wow. I kind of took a page, and I know, due to all the press and whatever else is surrounding Eric Clapton these days, it's exactly what, I took a page out of that book, who that individual has been a big help to me, through my sobriety. And, he did the same thing. He worked at a hospital and then started his own rehab. And so it, for me, was the same thing. It was, I went to give back and help other drug addicts and alcoholics, get sober and help them and worked in that field, so that I knew that once I would get back out there, I would have that strength and what to do and what to do differently and just to give back to that community. So, and that's how I started my life in Nashville. So, wow. Those were the things that I did with that, that now going back out, it's not even a thought. It's being so immersed into that recovery world and that community. Being in a bar and around this situation is just second, it's just not even a thought or an issue. But if I start to get away from it, like I did before, it can easily happen again. So lesson learned.
Absolutely. That's amazing to hear that. And I think Josie Scott from Saliva did that exact same thing. And that's so commendable. It's tremendous, and to give back like that, and all good things. It looks like 2022 is coming up all Lance Lopez, I think, my man. So I got to ask you about this, because obviously we talked about, Brian Tichy playing on the new single. We talked about Joey Sykes, the producer, and just the sound is tremendous. You've kind of formed a new power trio here. Who are you playing with? How did it come about? What kind of guys you got coming up with you right now?
Well, I got some guys down in Nashville working with me. I got a young bass player by the name of Ryan Brewington playing bass. He's great. He's like he eats, breathes, and sleeps like Jack Bruce from Cream, Felix Pappalardi from Mountain, John Paul Jones. I mean, and a young guy like that in his mid-20s, mid to late 20s that is immersed in that world is a giant win, and plays a bass like Lemmy, so having a guy like that that's hungry and that comes from that element is perfect for the band. So it's really cool to have him involved in the band. And I've got a couple different drummers. Our main drummer that we've been working with is a guy named Justin Ward out of Nashville. That's great. He plays with Lee Greenwood, big country star. So the trio's been tremendous. The live band has been awesome. So we're doing some more recording. They're on the album for sure. We're doing some recording in Nashville with them. So as well as all our really high caliber musicians, we're having the road band on there as well. So these guys have been great. They've gotten tremendous response, bringing them back home to Texas and bringing them back into that world and having them playing really and getting the huge thumbs up of how great they are was really a testament to how great the new band is.
Oh, excellent. That is so great to hear, man. And I know what an influence a band like ZZ Top had on you and Billy Gibbons, but this just summer, and we lost Dusty Hill. Like What was that kind of like to get that news? Because I think that for me, as the years go by and these things happen, and I remember when Lemmy died, I was in LA and I was at the Rainbow just the day before, and it just all become kind of surreal. And since then, there's been so many. When that happens, is it just sort of a feeling of like, man, there's a certain element to your heroes aren't going to last forever, and how sobering that is? I mean, what was kind of your thoughts when you heard that news?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up with those guys. I'd known Gibbons. He'd been a mentor my entire life. I toured with ZZ Top as an opener, as a support act. I mean, they were like family. So I had a lot of concern several years ago when Dusty fell in Lubbock and broke his hip. And that was a concern. And Gibbons and I had been working pretty closely together with Supersonic Blues Machine. So, getting that news was also very worrisome because, I've just seen it with elderly family members, with elderly people when they get to like kind of that hip breaking phase of their life. I've just seen like people fall that were great, that were okay, and they fall and break their hip. Then all of a sudden this rapid decline happens. And, so in the back of my, that when that happened, it kind of woke me up to, wow, this just happened walking to the stage. Dusty fell and broke his hip. And then so in the back of my mind, I always thought about that happening to elderly, people in our family or people that we knew. So that made it real. That made it real. It always makes it real when we lose a hero, but someone as close as that with Dusty was heartbreaking. And when I saw him the last time we were on a show together over in the UK, actually, I was opening for ZZ Top at the Ramblin' Man Fair in Maidstone, England. And Dusty was taking a golf cart to the stage, and we talked briefly. And he seemed to be a little bit still struggling with the hip, and that's where and I just said, man, well, just take care of yourself. He was kind of frustrated and a little grumpy and not feeling well, and
sure.
So it just it just makes it a reality that that our heroes don't last forever, and especially people that are that close to us. And I was, however, happy to see Elwood step over on the side. I was happy to see Elwood take control. I mean, if anybody was there that is the consummate right-hand man, it's Elwood Francis. And so to see Elwood step over on the other side for the Dust was also good. And to see, what us Texans do is we step up and we keep pushing forward, in the face of a loss. I mean, it goes all the way back kind of to the old March of the Alamo. There's like nothing that'll stop it.
So true.
That's the other side of it. I mean, the Dust went down with his boots on, saying, hey, you boys keep marching forward, and Elwood, it's your time to step up whether you want to or not. So that was what was great about it. And it was his wish. And I know that I don't know if Billy and Frank have really fully gotten through it, but man, again, they're marching forward, and Elwood stepped up, and there's no stopping ZZ Top.
Literally. And I saw him just a few days after Dusty died. And I thought, well, surely this will be canceled. I mean, gosh, we live in an era where anything could be canceled 10 minutes before a show. Dusty passes away, and then Elwood comes in there. And I mean, I'm so glad it happened, because it was a cathartic for a fan, cathartic for the band, I'm sure, in a lot of ways, to work through it. Like you said, that's what Texans do, my man. And that's what's great. Lance, I tell you what, I can't wait to see what all is to come here in 2022 for you. The new singles are tremendous. I can't recommend them enough. Want everybody to go check out. It's on Indiegogo. You can search for Lance Lopez, a new album project, and help get that pushed through to the end. My friend, it's always good to catch up. We can't wait so long to do it, my man. So anytime, let's revisit it. And when the new album comes out, can't wait to do it, my friend.
Awesome. Clint, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Always,
you guys
brother.
are awesome.
You bet. Thank you.
Take care.